Hello, Stansell team. This is President Jim Kurtz. I am obviously not Angelica Connor. I'm Jim Flynn, our safety manager, filling in for Angelica. And obviously, Angelica is leaving us such a big void that we needed not only one, but two Jims to help fill it, right?
There you go.
But in all seriousness, Angelica will be returning. And Jim can't thank you enough because we're going to be talking about a very important topic, the American Disabilities Act, ADA, as it relates to Stansell's ground-up projects and remodels. Super important topic, and thanks for joining us to provide your perspective from a leadership standpoint.
It's my pleasure, Jim. So thank you for hosting this as well. So looking forward to the conversation. ADA is an important topic for the Stansell organization. It carries across so many things: our brand, our reputation, represents all four pillars of what we represent out there in our character. But it also carries a lot of professionalism with it as well. So looking forward to the conversation. Thank you,
All right,
Jim.
no problem. You ready to get started?
Let's roll.
All right, let's do it. So there's so many aspects involved in our projects, Jim. ADA, where would you rank it as far as importance in the whole grand scheme of things, as far as the importance of getting it right?
So you guys frequently hear me speak in four buckets, right? We have the three out in the field of safety, quality, and schedule. And then also the fourth bucket of profitability certainly does layer in as well. But when I'm out in the field meeting with superintendents and area supervisors and PMs from time to time, I speak to those three buckets, and it certainly does speak to all of those. So to rank it over something else, I just think how it hits all of the three buckets, and then unfortunately can hit the fourth bucket as well in a negative way if we don't get it right.
Mm-hmm. So there's an old saying that if you follow the blueprints, you can't go wrong. You'll get it right. But that doesn't necessarily apply 100% when it comes to ADA, does it?
Well, it certainly doesn't. I was on a job site yesterday, and there are existing conditions that we have to go behind and check as well. So as thorough as our the people that see the project before us, the engineers and the architects and the owners reps, there's work that's around us that we have to just do a double check on those things, because ADA isn't top of mind for everyone everywhere. We see it enough. It touches our projects in a host of ways. First and foremost, it touches our project again in the four pillars. Really how we treat one another. So I can think of all the ways that a project gets attached to it. But really, ADA is intended. It's a national brand, if you will. It's intended to allow those that aren't blessed with the blessings that we have to be able to afford the rights that we're afforded. So that's really where it starts, is we're trying to be good stewards of our trade and honor those people so that they can have the same experiences that we have.
That's such a good point. And I don't want to mislead people. Obviously, we do a lot right at Stansell as far as on our projects, and even ADA, we get it right a lot of times. But in the event that we don't get it right, Jim, what are the potential consequences for us as a company when ADA is a swinger and miss?
Well, first and foremost, it's we those people aren't afforded that opportunity, right? So we put them in a compromised position to be able to enjoy the restaurant, to be able to navigate that sidewalk that's next to a highway of rolling traffic at a high speed. So safety gets compromised. And certainly safety can have a lot of other things. Can have, for one, a really bad consequence that you guys can think of on your own. But it has financial implications. It has brand implications. It touches, again, the four buckets that I speak to: safety, quality, schedule. You may have, how does it attach schedule? When you have to redo some ADA work, you'll feel how it attaches schedule, which then also becomes a financial component of profitability.
Sure. Because we live out our core values as a company, our pillars are really related to ADA as far as if we do mess up ADA for some reason, it's really cool to work for a company where we know we're going to go back and make it right for the customer, even if that means some serious problems as far as financial or our schedule and whatnot. But is it fair to say that our first two pillars, character and integrity, are directly related to what we will do to get ADA right for our customers and the general public?
Absolutely. I think the expectation is pretty clear. That we're supposed to deliver an ADA compliant site. as you said earlier, it's represented on the plans in many ways, and then other ways it's represented through our experience. And what we know we should at least be looking for and asking the question, even if our customer makes a different decision. So yeah, we certainly need to pay attention to those things.
Jim, what are the potential consequences for our customers in the event that ADA something is wrong, especially post construction?
Yeah, certainly great question. And the nice thing about here at Stansell is you have some experience on that side. You have Mr. Steggy himself, who worked on that side in the restaurants, running the restaurants for many years. Myself have been deposed on ADA on the client's side before, as well as Mr. Holsey, who came from that side too. We all three of us have seen that from that side quite a bit, and I'm sure there's more in organization that have seen it from the client side. For one, it does impact their brand. So just think, we work for Fortune 100 companies. We serve Fortune 100 companies, and that's the last thing that they want to see on the news, is something about one of their facilities being impacted by something that happens relative to ADA. And again, it has financial impact right out of the box. So this is a little dated, right? I've enjoyed this great partnership here for 8 years now, but when I was at McDonald's before, right out of the box, if an attorney files a suit, even questioning doesn't meet ADA, it's 30 grand right there. Attorney's fees get sucked into this thing easily. 30 grand just goes out the window really fast. So you have the financial implications for that. Again, but more so it is the brand. You just don't want to be attached to depriving somebody of a right that they should be able to enjoy.
What does it say about the fact that you had mentioned there's a handful of people here that were big parts of some of our customers before they were big parts of Stansell, and you're one of them? Some of these entities like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, they actually allocate resources to ADA as far as checklists. They devote people, full-time people, to go and make sure ADA is right. What kind of message should that send to us that they're putting that kind of attention on it?
It's important. It's important. It matters. It's an investment on their behalf that they make. I think it's probably one of the most consistent things that those brands are doing from a process side of things in measuring quality. In the quality world of the projects that we do, certainly they run punch lists, but then also they come behind with these ADA checklists, which are impressive. Filled with so much knowledge that those of us that have been doing it for a while, it feels good that, yeah, I know ADA really well. Just use the checklist anyways, because it checks so many things that we our muscle memory may get lost, and it backs us up. So they've invested a lot in it, and that should tell you how important that is.
I'm going to ask you to turn back time a little bit and put your McDonald's hat back on, because like we said, you, Jim, Andy, John, all were part of McDonald's, which is now our customer. From your perspective, when you were the customer, if something went wrong with ADA, what was that like from your perspective as the customer? How frustrating was it? What was going on from McDonald's end of things if there was a major problem with ADA?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm a little more flexible maybe than what some other people may have been or still are. But there's a human element to it, right? It is construction, so there's a human element. But I didn't like to see it over and over again. It's okay, a mistake happened, let's correct that. But let's make sure that there's a learning from that and it doesn't get repeated again. But if it gets repeated again, their frustration settles in. But every time I expected accountability for it. So it had to be corrected, and ideally the people that were responsible for making the mistake were the ones that would fix it, so that we guarantee you don't do that again.
And at the same time, Jim, what about the contractors that would get it right consistently? I mean, these are people that made your life easier, made it better for the general public, McDonald's customers. So was there something above and beyond there besides our bid on a project that where the client could look at it and say, hey, this is a contractor that clearly we can count on?
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, when you get things right all the time, it's not it's something that specific is not something you dig in on and say, oh man, they get ADA right. I wouldn't say that is something that they really did call a lot of attention to, but it's just a holistic representation of the project. It's they realize that this is important for us and they get it right. And so I think it's a layer underneath it. But did I, or do I think they sit there today and say, "Wow, man, they're the best at having the ADA done"? I think it's a holistic approach to all of the processes that they do. They're delivering it on time, delivering it with amazing quality, and delivering that thing within budget. So
When I think of ADA, I also think of our fourth pillar, how we treat people. Like you alluded to earlier, these are people, we're trying to accommodate people that really need help to get into these establishments, right? And reportedly, there's 45.5 million Americans that are considered to have disabilities. That's 13% of the civilian population. That being said, we have a real opportunity, don't we, to um, help these people and give them, afford them the rights that we're all blessed to have.
yeah, certainly. I mean, um, in the United States of America, what's one of the greatest things we have here? Freedom and
Freedom.
independence.
Hmm.
Right, that's one of the best things about living here, and no matter what your circumstances are, being able to enjoy freedom and independence is just it's at the core of so many things that we find value here in, and that's what this is targeted for, is to afford those people. And look, like you mentioned, that with the statistics that you mentioned, we all know somebody.
Mm.
We all know somebody, and it matters, and unfortunately, it could become us tomorrow. And I would hate to think that something that I really love to do just became that much harder
Mm.
to do, outside of what capacity I may have been given to, or challenged with. So if there's something that can help me keep some of those freedoms and celebrate my independence, then how valuable is that? That's super cool.
It's invaluable,
Yeah,
right?
it's invaluable.
Um, so I'll try to tie this back to our third pillars too. As much as we're talking through our pillars in ADA, work ethic, and let me explain for a second if you don't mind. I'm not sure if work ethic is exactly what applies, but certainly attention to detail comes to mind, and that's what makes me want to tie it back to our third pillar with work ethic. As far as when ADA comes in, I keep hearing over and over that this is trust but verify
For sure.
with our trade partners and everything else we're doing out there. Do you feel like the third pillar applies in this case?
Absolutely, it
Okay.
does. So yeah, I mean, we're professionals, and that professionalism is carried out in so many aspects of what we do. And so ADA is one of those expectations, just like knowing what's on the plans is one of those expectations. To represent that we're professionals, we have to exercise a good work ethic, and that means checking the things that are required, the things that are important to the project. So double checking, being familiar with what they're looking for to start with, knowing those checklists with those clients that have those, but at a minimum, being familiar with the plans and knowing what the plans say you should be doing with the ADA.
Absolutely. Jim, we have a lot of superintendents at Stansell who get ADA right consistently, and our hard hats off to them. But that doesn't happen by accident. What is their secret to success? What are they doing that you would maybe recommend to other superintendents who might be struggling with this?
Be it fortunately, unfortunately, you guys have probably heard this in other podcasts. It's our processes. Just follow the processes. The resources are here in our organization. In the superintendent folder within Procore, there is the ADA guidelines that are in there. The beautiful power of the iPad and the phones that we carry. You can Google almost anything, and it's amazing how quick AI will give you a quick answer on things. Smart levels. Our superintendents all have 2-foot smart levels. You may ask why 2 foot versus a 4 foot. 2 foot because that's what the attorneys carry. So we have the tools there. Use those tools. Leverage those processes. And last but certainly not least, if you don't know and you're still a little stumped, call somebody. Call your area supervisor, call your project manager, call Jim Flynn, call me, call Andy, call somebody, and we'll get you the answer.
Absolutely. Phone a friend, right?
That's right.
The Department of Justice is also a good resource, I believe, for checking ADA just to make sure, because you might know today, but sometimes the standards do evolve and change over time. So there's nothing wrong with double, triple checking the standards, right?
That's why I mentioned the phone. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Google different things, and so yeah, Department of Justice for sure. That's where some of those freedoms began, to try to secure those for people. So
Yeah, and we have the pleasure of working together a lot internally, and I can just tell you, as someone that interacts with I'm blessed to interact with you, the area supervisors. These are people that genuinely care about the success of our superintendents and our projects and our customers. So
For sure.
if you ever feel like you're bothering them with a phone call or text, I assure you you're not. They always tell me that the worst question you can ask is the one you don't ask, right?
That's right.
So just keep that in mind. Free your conscience that you have a lot of people here willing to help you if you ask for it.
Yes.
You had touched a little bit, Jim, on the resources that are available. Alan Bradford, area supervisor, he had went out of his way to actually create a checklist. Anthony Connor has also developed a ADA checklist that these will be resources available in Procore. How useful do you feel like those particular resources would be to the superintendents?
Information and is power. So information creates knowledge, and knowledge is power, but we have to use it. So there are a lot of things out there, guys and gals, that we're responsible for, and it's so nice to have, if you can retain that and use it. But it's so much. Please don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't use the resources. That's what they're there for. We don't present them and say, "Hey, learn this," then go hide it. We say, "Hey, here's information for you to use at the point that is relevant for you." So, no, the creation of tools. That is what one of our leadership retreat that we always establish goals early in the year. For us is to establish more processes and tools behind what we do, so that we can make ourselves more consistent and overall keep ourselves the most relevant general contractor and the best choice for our trade partner, for our companies that we serve to use, and for our trade partners to support us.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, because Andy Holsey was so passionate about this, but he said a lot of times if we get ADA wrong, it could be a mindset issue. And what he meant by that is, he reminded me, ADA is a law, not a building code.
Yeah.
So there's really not room for negotiation or interpretation. It has to be exactly right. And you're striving essentially for perfection. But in this world, it's got to be pretty much perfect, right?
It does. There are tolerances within it, but yeah. So I mean, the standard is the standard. You guys have heard that before, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Jim, thanks so much for joining us. Super insightful information. The topic on ADA is just so important. And not only thank you to you, but thank you to everybody else in Stansell that just helps check, double check, triple check ADA to make sure we get it right for our customers, for the company, and for the general public. It's just so important. And the cool thing is, and you know more about this than maybe most people, but we are going to be building out a lot more training material for ADA here. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, thanks again for the perspective, Jim, and hope you enjoyed this version of the Stansell Blueprint podcast. Until next time, take care.